Hi, it's Steve here. It's July 22nd, 2020. We're going to do a quick 5 minute uh, talk here. Um, I'm going to talk about time. The interesting thing with time is most of us today, um, we have we have our cell phone and you can see the time on there. Um, and it's when I was in high school, I had a watch. And a lot of people, some people still wear watches today, but I, you know, the interesting thing with time is we just none of us know how much time we have. When I was younger, I mean, I never really thought about it. If somebody ever asked me how much time do you think you have, you know, I well, I think maybe 40, 50 years, hopefully. And I guess that was true when I was like 12 or 13 years old, that I did have that much. I didn't know it. And I remember when I was in, I think I was in fourth grade or fifth grade in grade school, and a kid, one of our, um, one of the kid in my school, he was really sick, and he had something wrong with him, and the school never really told us, but I just remember how, as a kid, how sick he looked. He was really sick, and in during that school year, while we were in school, we were all told he didn't. Yeah, one day he wasn't there. His desk was empty, and they said that he had passed away, and it was like, gosh, he was only 11 or 12 years old, and it just wasn't. It was a hard deal to think even back then, is like, wow, I didn't. It still didn't completely hit me. Um, I'm in my 50s now, and a friend of mine that I knew since, heck, I met him when he was 14 or 15 years old, and I knew him all these years. About it less than a year ago, he was 49. He didn't even get to 50, and he had a heart attack and died. And it was just it didn't it just happened so quickly, and we just don't know how much time we have. And I want to just encourage you to, we don't, whatever you're going to do today, make sure that you do it to the that, what if this was your last day? Would you do what you're doing? That's probably a pretty good question. I think Steve Jobs said that one time. He said, I get up every day, and I said, if this was the last day on, if this was my last day on Earth, uh, would I be doing what I'm doing today? And if he said that the answer is no too many times in a row, then he stops and he really thinks about what he's doing. But that's a pretty good question to ask: is what 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 am I gonna do if this is my last day? Was what I'm doing what I would do as if it was my last day? And it's an interesting question to ask. And I mean, a lot of you are like, I'm not gonna ask that question. It's like, this is crazy. But really stop and think about it. You could ask yourself that question, and the answer that comes might be that you might be engaging in stuff that's completely wasting time, or you're in a place where you're going to do the wrong thing, or maybe the implications of what you're doing today aren't gonna help anyone. And then on the other side, you know, it gives you an opportunity to say, okay, what am I going to do today? So I guess the thing is that no matter what we're going to do in our lives go by our thoughts. So the stuff we think about all the time is where is the direction of our life, and how where we end up is in our thinking. And so I guess what I'm asking you to do there is think, and which is what most people don't do. They think, but they really don't think. Um, the thinking is more of an automatic. It's just uh, the stuff goes through your mind that's just been put in there from previous times, and so it's an automatic thing. Real thinking involves asking yourself questions. Am I doing the right thing? Am I passionate about what I do? Am I excited for the day? Do I love my life? I mean, these are questions that you can ask yourself, that provokes real thinking, because if you don't engage in real thinking, um, you'll just kind of go with the flow. You know, a river flows one direction, and as it flows, um, everything is just kind of pulled down with it. Stuff is floating along, and people are a lot like that. They're just floating down the river of life, and they're just going with the flow. With everybody else seems to be floating along, and you might bump into somebody here and there, but nobody's really directing where they're going. They're just kind of going with what everything else looks. And real thinking involves, um, you know, turn around and go against the current. Sometimes my some of my biggest breakthroughs is stuff that had nothing to do with was asking myself questions like that. You know, what would I want to accomplish? I mean, I heard about a lady, Mary Kay Cosmetics. She sat down one day and she said, if I had 1 year to live, what would I do? And she wrote all this stuff down, and she ended up creating this huge business that helped all these millions of women out there. And I mean, it's by asking sometimes we just don't ask the right questions. We ask questions that give us answers. Our brain will answer those questions. So we do questions. Some of the questions, like, why am I so tired? Well, the brain will give you the answer of why you're so tired. You're not asking the right questions. Maybe a better question than why am I so tired should be, how come, what could I do that would give me tons of energy? What could I do that would make me passionate? You see how that is a different type of question? So what I'm asking you to do today is think, think about stuff. Think about, that you may, appreciate this life. Be grateful. You know, we're not going to be here forever. None of us, there's one thing that's guaranteed in this life is that we're all going to be dying at some point. This isn't meant to be a morbid talk, but we all aren't going to make it. None of us are. And we need to decide, what we're going to do each day and how we're going to live our lives. And I guess we get to decide. We have that opportunity, and you can control the way you think. You don't have to go with the flow. Be your own. I want to encourage you to be an independent thinker and do your own thinking. So anyway, that's going to be it today. Have a wonderful day, and do some thinking today. Sit down, get it on paper, ask yourself some hard questions. So anyway, take care, and we'll talk to you later.